enjoy this performance of Finding Nemo, the musical. Please go take small children by the hand, walk to the end of the rows and exit through the open doors. Oh, and please don't walk on the bleachers. In order to prepare a stage for our next performance, we ask that you exit the theatre at this time. Thank you.
Again, keep those cameras ready because a lot of the animals that live here in the forest are actually very good at blending in with our natural surroundings. Well, looks like we're just going to go ahead and head up towards the watering hole, which is actually a very important place for lots of different species to meet up, including some of the more rare species like the black rhino. But black rhinos are extremely rare, and we can actually go weeks at a time without seeing a single one, so make sure you keep those fingers crossed.
Too hot, they're all hiding in shade.
Oh, that looks like I do see one right up ahead here to the left.
There he is. Oh, there he is.
Now, those rhinos can grow to be over 3,000 pounds large and can still charge at speeds of over 35 miles per hour. Now, unfortunately, they are so rare because of poaching, which has caused their numbers to drastically drop from over hundreds of thousands to just less than 5,000 left in the entire world. Hey, if you look up there on the right-hand side, looks like I see some greater kudu. Now, those are the second tallest antelope in Africa. Now, because they don't have horns, that means that they're actually female. Only male kudu have horns, and they can actually grow to be over 71 inches long. Now, it looks like up to the hill there on the left are some bongo. Now, they are known as the ghosts of the forest, which is because they are very rarely seen due to their uncanny ability to blend in with our natural surroundings. Which is why we're so lucky we actually got to see them. Now, you may have noticed that their horns are tapered backwards, and this is to help them navigate more smoothly through that dense shrubbery. Now, unlike kudu, both male and female bongos actually have horns. Now, down below, we're going to be heading towards the Safi River, which is a great place to see some hippos. Now, hippopotamus is a Greek word. It means river horse. But they're actually, despite being great swimmers, their favorite place to hang out is to walk along the bottom of the riverbed. Now, once down there, they will probably stay down there for around 5 to 8 minutes at a time. That's about as long as they can hold their breath. But I'm not really seeing too much hippo activity on this side of the river. So why don't we head up just a little farther and see what we can find just around the riverbed. And we're going to see some hippos a little bit more upriver off to the left.
There he is.
So we're going to probably stop up there. But in the meantime, if you look at that middle island there, it looks like I see a pod of pink-backed pelican. Now, they actually get that name because during mating season, their back feathers are going to develop a pink color.
Huh.
And it looks like there's even a younger one kind of there in the middle. It's all like it's white and fluffy. And also looks like there is a hippo all the way there in the back. You can kind of see its back. It's so halfway in the water. Now, at birth, a hippo can weigh as much as 85 pounds, and after consuming over 150 to 200 pounds of vegetation per day, they can grow to be over 5,500 pounds. Oh boy. This bridge up ahead does not look all too stable, so make sure you guys are remaining seated. And we're just going to take it nice and pole, which is Swahili for slowly. Now you'll see why down below. There are some Nile crocodile off to the left-hand side of the water there. They can close their mouth with a pressure force of over 2,000 pounds per square inch. And some of them are looking pretty hungry, so why don't we just keep on moving and make sure everyone is remaining seated. Now in the meantime, I do have a question for you guys. Now, who do you think can run faster on land? A hippo or a crocodile? Raise your hand for hippo. Okay, Okay, what about crocodile? Well, the correct answer is hippo. They can run over 30 miles per hour on land, while crocodiles can only run up to 10. Now we're heading into a completely different ecosystem with completely different animals. We're taking the scenic route to the west side of the savannah. And speaking of different, off there to your right, that is called a baobab tree. And they do go long periods of time without water. They store it all in their trunk. And even to further conserve water, they will actually go 9 months out of the year without leaves. Now I did say we're taking the scenic route, so go ahead and take a look for yourself, because this truly is one of the most beautiful views in all of Africa. Now these Serengeti grasslands are like the super highway for lots of different migratory species. It's all part of that wild Africa that we're all trying so hard here to conserve. Now one of the truly amazing things about this ecosystem is the fact that it's completely shaped and maintained by all of the animals that live here. For example, elephants actually act as a natural bulldozer by knocking down all these big tall trees to eat them, thus creating space for newer plants and trees to grow. Now a giraffe acts as a natural pruning shear by snacking all the low-hanging branches, creating space for sunlight to shine down through the trees and onto the grass. And once that grass does grow nice and tall, animals like antelope will act as a natural lawnmower by grazing on all the tall grasses, keeping them nice and trim. So as you all can see, in a well-balanced ecosystem, there's actually more than enough food to go around. Now as we head up a little bit further, you might start to notice these tall cone-like structures on either side of the vehicle. Does anybody know what these are?
Termite mounds.
That's correct, they are termite mounds. Now these mounds can actually bake to be just about as hard as concrete in the hot sun, making them pretty useful for other animals besides termites, such as elephant, who love to rub up against them and use them as a natural back scratcher. Now elephants, being well over 12,000 pounds, can actually grind these mounds down quite a bit to a smaller size, in which case little animals like meerkat will climb on top and use them as a natural lookout post, so they can be on the watch for those predators that might be on the hunt. Now it looks like up to the right there's a silver antelope called a white-bearded wildebeest. Now, you may not hear the word wildebeest if you were to have it's a regular conversation here around Africa. Most of them call them a gnu, spelled G-N-U. There's also going to be some of the bushes out to the left. Now they get this name gnu from the low grunting noise that they make. It's kind of like the phonetic sound. Now wildebeest actually do participate in one of the largest migrations in all of Africa. I like it. Now off there to the right hand side, you can kind of see their long curvy horns. Those are the sable antelope. They're actually the official emblem for the reserve. That displays of courtship and protection from predators.
Oh, there's a giraffe up here. With a giraffe.
Now also in that large group of trees there, you might see the large horns of the Ankole cattle. Their horns can also go to be about 5 to 6 feet long, but they're hollow on the inside. Within their horns are blood vessels that are actually responsible for their natural cooling process called thermoregulation. Now to the left, you're going to see an entire tower of giraffe. Now giraffe at birth are about 6 feet. By adulthood, they can grow to be as tall as 20 feet.
Look at that. Wow.
And also out of the 9 subspecies of giraffe in the world, researchers have actually discovered 2 right here in the reserve. Off to the left-hand side, this is a reticulated giraffe, getting a sense from the Latin word reticulata, which means net, so that even kind of like spot pattern. Now right behind it at the top of the hill, that is a Maasai giraffe. As you can see, its spot pattern differs a little bit. The borders of the spots are going to be more jagged and jigsaw-like, and that's really how you're able to tell the 2 subspecies apart. So you've got reticulated and you have Maasai. Now up ahead, we're going to be heading into a different area of the savannah called Monkey Point. It's home to the largest monkeys in all of Africa, the mandrills. Now while mandrills are social monkeys, they can be a little shy, but luckily I do know their favorite hiding spot. It just happens to be off to the left, usually in the trees. Although to the left, they're actually right there on the rock. And we're very lucky because you actually get to see the dominant male of the troop. Now dominant males can weigh over 100 pounds. They're kind of like the father figure for the troop. Now the average male is about 80 pounds, so they at least are at least 20 pounds heavier than the average male. They also have very distinct red and blue markings. They're a lot brighter than that of the average mandrill. Now off to the right in the far back, you are going to see a canyon, which is where we're heading next. That is the main path towards elephant country. So who's ready to go see some elephants?
I am.
Alright, we're going to head up a little bit farther. It's going to be around the right-hand corner here, and then should be just less than a day's travel. Ooh, uh-oh. Looks like that main path I was just talking about is actually closed for the time being, so we're going to have to take the long way around. It's going to be a few extra days, but hey, we got 2 weeks, right?
She has to ask her boss.
Yeah, I don't know if I can take out that much time.
Ooh, should have done that before you booked your safari. Anyway, elephants do have tusks. They're made out of a substance called ivory, which is very valuable in the black market. Unfortunately, putting them in a very high risk for poaching. Now, contrary to popular belief, once an elephant's tusks are removed, they do not grow back. Now, everyone, please make sure you're remaining seated as we cross over this next bridge. But actually, can you guys do me a favor? I was driving over this bridge the other day, and it was pretty windy out, and I lost my favorite safari hat. I don't remember which side it flew out on, so you guys just check both sides, but can you see if you can find my hat for me? Oh wait, I think I see it up ahead. Nope, not it. Anybody see it? No? Oh well, guess I'll just have to buy a new one. Alright, let's keep heading on then. Alright, well, looks like we're going to be heading straight to a red clay pit up ahead, so before we move on, we want to take a quick look around. Hey, looks like there's some tusk marks there off to the right in the red clay, and some large footprints down below to the left, so we shouldn't be too far behind. Now, besides poaching, elephants do face other threats in their natural environment, such as deforestation, which can be greatly attributed to the mining of an ore called coltan, commonly found in their natural habitat. Now, most of you actually probably have a source of coltan on board with you. It's most commonly found in the batteries of cell phones and other common electronics. But by doing something as easy as recycling your used cell phones once you're done with them, it can greatly help to reduce the rate of deforestation and the elephant's habitat. And it sounds like we just picked up the local radio station. You guys are really lucky because this is actually the #1 song right now. Tearing up charts all over Harambe. Looks like someone came to get a quick drink of water. Very large group of flamingos, greater flamingos to be exact, and a group of flamingos is actually called a flamboyance. Now, greater flamingos do have the largest size as well as the lightest coloring, which is why their feathers appear almost white. But speaking of coloring, did you guys know that they actually get their pinkish color from their diet?
Yep, from shrimp.
They eat lots of crustaceans like brine shrimp, which are actually very rich in beta-carotene. Now, from the time they're born as a little gray fuzzball, it takes about 1 to 2 years of eating beta-carotene before that pinkish color starts to develop. Hey, and if you look up at that boulder there on the right, it looks like there's actually some drawings. Probably painted there by one of the local tribes to depict some of the animals that they found here on the east side of the savannah. Now we are heading into a mud wallow up ahead. This is usually one of the favorite places for the white rhino to spend its time. And there they are straight up ahead. Probably stopping just a little bit so they get a little closer. Now, unfortunately, despite all of our conservation efforts, both white and black rhino are still being heavily poached for those horns. Now, this is because those horns are actually believed to have a medicinal property. but that's actually just a common myth. Did you know that a rhino's horn is actually made out of a protein called keratin? Now, keratin just so happens to be the very same protein that both your hair and your fingernails are made out of. I'm gonna keep a close eye because it looks like I spotted a cheetah all the way to the left-hand side of that hill. Okay, the lion dogs are gonna be a little harder to see around these tall grasses, but you can see their heads poking up. Yeah, I'm seeing it, they're all the way to the very left-hand side. Now, cheetah are the fastest land animals in all of Africa. They can run at speeds of over 60 miles per hour, but usually only for about 100 meters at a time. So they're actually better sprinters than long-distance runners. Now, cheetah are primarily daytime hunters, and actually they're one of the very few big cats known to purr just like a house cat. Now, coming up on the left-hand side of this rock formation is called a kopi. That is Swahili for rock. And kopis are usually great spots to see some of the larger cats like lion. However, lion are typically inactive about 18 to 20 hours out of the day, so no promises.
Oh, there he is. There's the computer.
It looks like we can catch a glimpse of an ostrich over there. Why don't we try to pull around the bend and see if we can get a little closer?
There's a lioness up there.
In the meantime, if you look up to the left-hand side, it looks like a lioness is perched on the top of that rock. Now, contrary to popular belief, the lioness is actually the hunter of the pride. The males will usually stay at home to guard the pride against other incoming males, and will usually only assist when hunting larger animals. And around these burrows down here to the left is a warthog, which just so happens to be the largest burrowing animal in all of Africa. Now, warthogs use those shovel-like snouts to dig out their own burrows, but sometimes instead of creating their own burrows, they'll recycle by reusing burrows created by other animals.
See, those ostrich eggs are
Now, I do see an ostrich nest down below to the left, and it looks like if we pull up a little farther, we'll be able to get a good view of the ostrich off to the right.
Jason, look over there. There's an ostrich sitting down.
Now, despite having very large wings, ostrich are actually flightless birds. Now, they can be over 8 to 9 feet tall and can run at speeds of over 40 miles per hour. And coming off to the right-hand side is another white rhino. Now, since we're actually a lot closer, you might be able to tell that the white rhino is not actually white. Now, he does get his name from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word vite, spelled V-I-T, which means wide. If you take a look at his mouth, you'll see how it's very wide and elongated. That's where I get the name from. Now, it says in comparison to the black rhino, whose mouth is actually pointed and prehensile. Now, we are heading into a different area of the reserve called Maigati Glen. It's actually home to the more migratory animals that you might find out here in the reserve. Now, up on the hill to the left, those white antelope are called addax. Now, addax are actually native to the Sahara Desert, and they can even go their entire lives without a single drop of water. But unfortunately, they are critically endangered. There are only less than 300 addax left in the wild. Now, down below to your right, you're going to see some yellow-billed stork. Now, those birds are carnivorous. They actually prey upon snakes, frogs, fish, and other smaller birds. Now, unfortunately, it does look like we've come to the saddest part of the safari, and that is the end. I know, those 2 weeks flew right by, didn't they? Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop you guys off at the nearest warden's post, and from there should be a short walk for you all back to the village. Now, for those of you who are just not ready for your adventure to end, I would definitely recommend going to check out the Pangani Forest Trail on your way back to Harambe Village. But there you will get to see animals you did not get to see in the reserve, which includes Columbus monkeys and also gorillas. Now I would also like to say Asante Sana, which is Swahili for thank you. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining me here on Kilimanjaro Safaris. I know you guys had a lot of choices when it comes to your safari experience. But thank you for choosing to spend your 2 weeks here with me. Now remember, even the little things you guys do every day at home can be the difference between these animals' existence and their extinction. Now some easy ways you guys are able to help out the animals at home, including recycling used electronics, donating to local conservation funds, even something